It was September the 1st, 1939, when German forces, by the order of Adolf Hitler, invaded the territory of Poland, thus initiating the deadliest military conflict in human history, known as World War II. It was a culmination of a series of alarming acts of violation of international peace agreements, which were growing in frequency over that very decade. In the midst of political turmoil, the League of Nations proved to be helpless in realizing its principal task, to prevent another world war. But how did that come to pass? How was it possible that an organization which had set out the principles that guide today's international cooperation failed so miserably? Late year 1918. The atrocities of the Great War caused worldwide distress and outrage. During the Paris Peace Conference, which began in January 1918, the end of the war was officially proclaimed, and a series of agreements was made so as to restore global peace and order. Aggressive war was branded a crime against humanity, and the need to create an international organization which would effectively uphold worldwide peace was recognized. The creation of the League was a centerpiece of the famed 14 Points for Peace speech delivered by the 28th President of the United States, Thomas Woodrow Wilson. In the last point, he stated that a general association of nations must be formed under specific covenants for the purpose of affording mutual guarantees of political independence and territorial integrity to great and small states alike. The proposal for setting up the League was accepted on January the 25th, 1918, and a special commission drafted the Covenant of the League of Nations. The League consisted of three main organs: the Council, the Assembly, and the Secretariat, as well as other smaller institutions and committees. The primary aim of the League was to provide collective security. Military intervention was to be the ultimate solution to a conflict between member states. In the long run, however, the League often proved to be unable to execute its authority. Firstly, the League tried to maintain peace without an army. On one hand, it was calling for disarmament for the sake of peacekeeping, yet by doing so, it was weakening its own ability to impose military sanctions on aggressive member states. On the other hand, to execute its authority, it relied on military support of the great powers, mainly Great Britain and France, who likewise were meant to pursue the policy of disarmament. What is more, the League was weakened from the very beginning of its existence, since the United States never joined it. The idea of the U.S. involvement in European foreign policy was strongly disliked by Wilson's political opposition, who subsequently introduced isolationism in America. Without the support of the United States as the largest economic power, imposing financial sanctions on belligerent member states proved to be more challenging for the League. The League's inability to act accordingly was best manifested in its reaction to two major conflicts, the Magdan Incident and the Italian conquest of Abyssinia, both of which broke out only a few years before World War II. To resolve the tension between China and Japan, which invaded the Chinese region of Manchuria, the Council attempted to negotiate a peaceful solution. Nevertheless, neither the Council nor the Assembly were able to agree on the imposition of sanctions of any kind. In the end, Japan refused to comply with the League's recommendations and left it in 1935. In the case of the Second Italo-Ethiopian War, once again the discussions in Geneva reached no decisive conclusion. Coupled with that, the conflict between Mussolini and the Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie revealed yet another weakness of the League, its inability to equally protect the interests of all states. This meant that Italy, as a larger and more influential state, without any major repercussions, conquered Abyssinia, whose interest in turn was neglected. The League's noble aim of disarmament turned out to be hopeless, as the majority of League's members were declaring that they no longer considered themselves bound by the obligations of the Covenant. Facing the subsequent crises, such as the Spanish Civil War, the annexations of Austria and Czechoslovakia by Germany, and Albania by Italy, reference to the League was treated as a mere formality, or sometimes was even omitted. Many states, most notably Germany, broke the Versailles Treaty and, against its restrictions, started to arm themselves dynamically. What is more, both Germany and Italy, along with Japan, left the League and together formed a hostile coalition. Later, the Axis powers became opponents to the Allied forces in World War II. Coupled with the loss of the League's authority in the international arena, the appeasement policy implemented by Great Britain and France toward Nazi Germany only fueled the growing tension. In the end, despite its best efforts, the League of Nations failed to provide collective security, and thus prevent the outbreak of World War II, both in Europe and worldwide. As the contemporary British Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin commented, collective security failed ultimately because of the reluctance of nearly all the nations in Europe to proceed to what I might call military sanctions. The real reason, or the main reason, was that we discovered in the process of weeks that there was no country except the aggressor country which was ready for war. If collective action is to be a reality and not merely a thing to be talked about, it means not only that every country is to be ready for war, but must be ready to go to war at once. That is a terrible thing, but an essential part of collective security. Thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more, and remember, think, learn, explore.